Guys, this is the Eternals video. Now, I'm reviewing this video 3 months after this movie was released because the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission decided that it was not worthy to be played in Nigerian cinemas or viewing houses. Simply because there was a scene between two grown men kissing in 2021. Anyway, Disney Plus recently added the movie to their list of streaming titles, and because I am a God fearing citizen who is responsible and pays his bills on time every month, I pay for my new Disney Plus subscription, and here I am to talk to you guys about this movie. Was that a good enough introduction? Yeah, now let's hop right into The Eternals. The first thing that stood out to me about the Eternals was how different it felt and looked. Something I had heard other reviewers say, but when I saw the movie, it began to make a bit more sense to me. Simply because it just felt different. It was larger in scale. The opening scene of this movie has the words "in the beginning" written on it. Those are the same words in the Holy Bible, which starts the book of Genesis. And that's because this movie is intentional about the story it's trying to tell. It's trying to retell the story of creation. I mean, I'm not the only one who has thought to myself, is there a God in this Marvel universe? I mean, we hear the word God used around people like Thor and Loki as the god of thunder and the god of mischief. But really, we don't really think of them as gods because they can get hurt, they have emotions, their powers have finite stores that they draw from, stuff like that. But for the first time, we see creatures and beings in this movie who are truly omnipotent in their representation. The first time Arishem showed up, I understood the biblical scale of the story Chloe Zhang, who is the director of this movie, was trying to tell. Erishem's size does not make sense. A human does not even compute in terms of comparison or perspective. He is massive. He is awe-inspiring. He is fearful. A lot of the same words that are used to describe the God of the Old Testament in the Christian Bible. Now, it's not coincidental that this movie story has a lot of spiritual themes. It has a lot of themes that deal with evolution. It has a lot of themes that deal with free will versus destiny. And I think it does a good enough job of juggling all those themes together. The issue that this movie faces is with its ensemble, its cast. You have like 10 different people. All of them are different. One is a child, one is black and gay, one is an Indian woman that acts as a mother figure, one is the Superman figure who focuses on only the mission, one is a warrior from ancient times who is celebrated in the fables and ballads of old, one is a super strong guy who can put, you see, like even you, I'm sure listening to that, you've lost track of who is who. And it gets tiring. The issue with this film, because a lot of the criticism to the film comes from the fact that people say it is unfocused and boring. I can explain those two. It's unfocused to others because there are these many characters to focus on. It has to juggle all these characters, all 10 of them, and all of them are genuinely likable. There are things to like about every single Eternal. But just because you like something doesn't mean you care about it. Now, how does that work in practice? Some people died, spoiler alert, and when they died, I was surprised at how little I felt. I felt like, oh, this guy that I like, he's dead. But okay, there's 9 other people that we need to go and catch up with, Sha. So let's go see how they are doing. I never processed the loss. I never processed the deaths. I was just like, oh, cool. Okay, I guess that happened. It sucks that I'm not going to see this guy that I like anymore, but we move on. I wasn't really drawn to them. I didn't empathize with them as much. And it's simply because there was not enough time. Now, that brings me to what, if I was to suggest how this movie could have done things differently, I'd have just said Disney should have just stuck with the Disney Plus treatment and given it like 10 solid episodes. Each episode focusing on one member of the Eternals and telling their story through time, the 7,000 years they've been on Earth, how they've grown, how they've developed, where they are now, and use a little bit of time in each episode to tell about the development of the deviants. Use that as your major CGI set piece that you use to glue people to their seats because there's all this excitement happening on screen, but still tell a deeper story. Because the time that this movie shone, the time that this movie truly shined, it was in the smaller moments when the Eternals were sitting down and having conversations about their adventures, seeing Icarus look at his face on an Instagram filter and see how old he could look because the filter was like using augmented reality to project that on his face. That was cool. What about the relationship and the dynamic between Tina and Gilgamesh? We're just meant to believe that they're just friends. But like, what happened? What forged that friendship? What did they overcome? What did they decide to do? Why is it just two of them together? Why didn't they get more? Like, there are many stories to be told. And because Disney was trying to fit this movie into a 2 hour, 30-minute cinematic runtime, because they want to make the most buck for their bank, we got this. I still give this movie an 8 out of 10. I think that for the fact that Disney tried to be adventurous, they tried to tell a different story, they took stakes and made them really high, and they took a genuine risk. Yeah, it may not have worked out for you. Yeah, it may have been too much in too little time, but they tried. And I think they did a good job at what they did. If your only criticism is that it is unfocused, then yeah, that's why it gets an 8. But if you say that it was boring, I can also explain that. Because the movie tries to juggle these big cinematic set pieces and fights and all these big things happening in the universe, with smaller moments like them having dinner and talking about the Avengers, it can seem like some things are out of place or some scenes go on for a little too long. For instance, the scenes with Icarus fighting, I wasn't as invested, I won't lie. I would have preferred to see them having a conversation about this thing that happened in Babylon or Macedonia, or pondering how to save humanity. I would have preferred to see how their individual personalities bounce off each other in those scenarios, as opposed to, oh, a deviant just showed up, let's fight him. Speaking of deviants, my final gripe of this movie comes with the villain. The villain's name is Crow. I only know this because somebody pointed it out to me. I didn't care for him. His motivation and his story could have been interesting, but again, with the one gripe I have with this film, they didn't give it enough time. He didn't have enough time to grow on you. He didn't have enough time to empathize with his cause. And when he died, I was just like, oh, okay, so I guess he's not coming back again. Let's move on. I didn't care. And it sucks because he's a very interesting, the way his powers manifest, the fact that he feeds off the other Eternals, yo, I respected that. Like, it would have been such an interesting story. He inherits their memories as well. So would he have inherited the memories that they had, all those, for all the other planets that they had helped destroy to like help give birth to other Celestials? I don't know, and we're never going to find out because Angelina Jolie turned him into shish kebab at the end of the film. See the way he even joined the final fight. Like, he joined like he didn't even know what was happening. It was poorly executed. So the villain and the amount the movie has to juggle, those are the two gripes I have. I truly do believe that people are being unfair with their reviews on this film. I feel like Disney tried to do the things that the critics have said that they should be doing or that they could be doing in their newer movies, and they actually tried, and people just ended up, instead of tapping them on the back, just hating on them and dissing them and saying that this movie is a mess and this is the issue with modern cinema and this is a new Star Wars failure type situation going on. It's unnecessary. The Eternals gets a solid 8 out of 10 from me. I enjoyed it. I've seen it twice. I'm probably going to see it one more time. And I am genuinely curious to see where this story goes. There's hints to Blade in that post-credit scene. There's hints to the larger universe that they're going to have to traverse. Think about it. Star Fox had an orb in his chest as well, which means he's connected to a Celestial. If he's connected to a Celestial, does that mean that not all Celestials are on board with Arishem's plan? And if not all Celestials are on board with Arishem's plan, what kind of fight, what kind of conflict is that going to turn into when all of this comes together? Because we're going to have little humans running about trying to like solve problems, and we're going to have universe level beings fighting and colliding. That gets me excited. I want to see where the MCU goes because of this film. I didn't feel this way after Shang-Chi. I felt this way after Far From Home, after No Way Home. But Eternals is the first one that's making me think, wow, this universe is massive and I can't wait to see what is going to happen. So yeah, 8 out of 10. Those are my thoughts. I tried to keep this at 5 minutes. I'm looking at the timer now and it's saying 10, 9.5. Please bear with me. Work in progress. New setting, new vibe, new year. I love you all. Peace. Oh, like, share, comment, subscribe. Help this channel grow in 2022, guys. Please. Thank you. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I beg, I beg, I beg.